Hello, everyone. I am your host, Joy, and you're listening to Romance or No-mance, where love blooms in unexpected places. This is an advice podcast about relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic, familial, or professional. This program is meant for inspiration and entertainment, and is not to be used as a replacement for therapy. If you are having a mental health emergency, please dial 911 or contact a healthcare professional. This program is PG-13, so please view at your own discretion. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Romance or No-mance. Hello, everyone, and today I am with my classmates,
Jessica,
Tabbitha,
and Jacob.
And today we're working on the friendship aspect of this podcast. First of all, what's a quality that you look for in a friend?
For me, it's someone who has similar values, because I do try to do things that I believe are right and good. And I've been through different phases of my life where maybe I wasn't as focused on my overall well-being. And I think in this phase of my life, it's people with the same priorities as me, someone who's a hard worker and has a purpose and a plan for their life. And you want to surround yourself with people who you want to be like, and not people that you feel are holding you back or living a life that you're not comfortable with.
I am definitely someone who looks for someone that can meet me halfway. As you get older, you don't necessarily need friends that are stuck to you like glue.
That's how most of my friendships are too. If I have a friend who is very clingy or needy, I feel suffocated. I'm not going to want to spend as much time with them. I have so much going on that I do need and appreciate friends who are able to understand that I'm juggling work, school, motherhood, and you might not hear from me for a little bit, but having those friendships where you can pick up even if you haven't seen them in 6 months or 2 years. That's how most of my friendships are. They are long lasting.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of my friends, they give me some really, really good advice. Like last week, for instance, my mental state, it tanked. And a couple of my friends said, hey, if you ever want to talk, I'm here for you. Just let me know. Is there anything I can do for you? The only thing I said to them was, as long as you are willing to listen, that is all I really need.
I think that's a really solid point. Having someone who can actively listen and not just talk at you too.
Would you say that friends need to have common interests?
Not all the time. Your example, I met up with an old coworker recently, and our lives are on very different paths. We don't really relate on too many other things other than the fact that we used to work at the same place, but we fostered a relationship there that we can carry on outside work.
I agree. It's not the end-all, be-all factor to decide if you're going to be friends with someone or not. I think it's important to have some commonalities, but again, I think it also keeps things interesting when you have friends who are into things that you're not, because then you're learning and sharing with each other too.
For me, not all of my friends like the things I like, and that's 100% fine, because the different kinds and types of friends you have can broaden your horizons in a way, because having a variety of friends can help push you forward.
For me, my whole life I've kind of been a loner. I'm not one to go into a friend group that's already existing. I would go around to whoever was standing by themselves and just be friends with that person. A lot of times that one person and I would be very different, but that didn't stop me from being their friend. Differences, that's what makes friendships special, because you can grow from each other. For example, my best friend and I, the one thing that we did have in common was we both played violin. But other than that, we are quite different. She's a cat person. I'm a dog person. She loves fashion. I don't wear makeup. And there are a whole bunch of other differences, but we are two of the best friends ever. So I think that having differences is just as important as having things in common. How much of an impact do your friends have on your life?
My friends are very, very important to me. One of the philosophies that I have is friends or family, I will do anything to protect them. I'm glad to know that my friends also have my back as well, because whenever I have a mental episode or I mentally shut down, they will be there for me.
I don't know if I would necessarily say the impact they have on my life versus the impact that I have on their lives. Just to give a quick example, my best friend, she messaged me, her and her husband are separating. He took all of her stuff and threw it on the curb, and I drove there and started packing stuff in my car, and that's just the type of person I am, and like, you call me, I'm gonna come.
I'm like that too. And I will drop what I'm doing and be there for a friend. A couple of years ago, around midnight, I put together this care package for a friend who I knew was going through some hard stuff. My sister has my location, and for some reason, she was tracking me that night. And she called me and it's like, Jessica, what are you doing? Why are you out in Friendswood at 12 a.m.? I'm like, first of all, I am 37 years old. Thank you. But I do understand that it was alarming to her and it scared her. But I'm that type of friend. I will do random crazy things, So I was like, you're just going to have to get used to that, Jennifer. This is who I am. If it was you, I would do the same. I'm coming at midnight to drop off toiletries if you need them.
So I am very much a helicopter friend. I'm going to be like, oh no, there's a problem. Do I need to drive over there? Do I need to buy you chocolate? Do I need to give you tissues? Do I need to go and feed your dog? What do you need? I'm that type of person that if there's something slightly different going on, I'm going to be like, what is the problem? Do you need anything? In that regard, we do a lot for our friends. So what is the most significant thing a friend has done?
My best friend, I ran out of gas. He's brought me gas, stuck on the side of the road, and he's like, I'll be there in 15. He's come and changed a tire. He'll work a 16-hour day, and he'll still pull up and be like, all right, like, what do you need?
It's so beautiful when you do have a friend that will come through for you. Sometimes it can feel like you're alone. And so having friends that you can count on make all the difference.
So a lot of my friends, and specifically a lot of my online friends, I don't really like to tell them what's wrong because I don't want them to worry about me. One of my biggest issues is I often bottle up my emotions a little too much. And I've even told one of my friends, I'm sorry if I'm being too much or overwhelming right now. But he's like, no, it's fine, whatever. I was like, really? Okay. Basically, what I'm saying is always have friends that will stick by you through thick and thin, no matter what, because they ultimately know what's best for you.
With true friends, you'll never be a burden. They will always be there for you no matter what. You can go through the worst times and they'll go with you through it.
And it's just shocking, though, realizing that sometimes. There's times where you can feel almost like unlovable. And so when you do have those friends that stick with you, it truly can be life-changing. I've had so many instances where friends have saved my life by being by my side. I've gone through my share of mental health challenges in the last few years, just dealing with a divorce and an abusive ex-husband and all the things that come along with that, the PTSD that followed that. And so about 2 years ago, I went through a really scary time in my life where I was having trouble dealing with all of this stuff. I was having like hallucinations and things like that. And I was taking some medicine for depression and anxiety. All that to say, my friend group stuck by me through it, and they were there for me and let me vent and call them and have a shoulder to lean on even when I'm kind of a burden at that point. I think I'm very lucky and fortunate and blessed to have a group of friends who will stick by you through literally the highest highs and the lowest lows. And so that's obviously a very memorable time where friends have stepped in and showed true friendship.
Do you have any advice for people who are struggling to make friends?
I had a really tough time making friends when I was little. What I did was I just was myself, and I was very genuine, I was very happy, I was very personal with everybody. And ultimately, if you don't put yourself out there, then nobody will know you even exist.
I've always been the type of person who will just kind of put myself out there and then regret it later. So that's my best advice, is just put yourself out there. Sure, you can get shot down, but it's like that with anything in life. So I would say get plugged in, find the things that you're interested in, and connect with the people that are there. Strike up a conversation with someone.
The best thing you can always do is try. And if you don't try, you never know what's going to happen. As someone who transferred schools 13 times, there's always a friend somewhere out there. You just have to go look for them.
Thank you guys so much for sharing all of your stories. I really appreciate it.
It's been fun. Thanks for having us.
Always happy to help.
Anytime.
You guys have a good one. Thank you, listeners, so much for your valuable time. This has been Joy on Romance or No-mance. Take care.